have to evaluate what you're doing, and they come up, oh, how does this match our rules? Does it go against our rules? Do we recommend it as a staff of the planning department? And if they don't recommend it to the planning commission, you probably won't get it approved. You might get it approved. They can approve stuff even though it's not recommended. Same thing with the city council. Even if let's say if the planning commission doesn't recommend approval, city council could approve it. It's a long shot, but I guess if anything I wanted to get across to you is that it's a process you have to go through. Sometimes it's a little, sometimes it may be easy. If I'm going from, let's say I'm going from a 5 units per acre density to a 3 units per acre, which is less dense, that's probably easy. But if I'm going from 3 units per acre to 5 units per acre, that's not as easy. Okay. If you want to build more houses in a same area, it's more difficult because smaller houses, whatever. Okay. So we talked a lot about the residential, but find out what's going to sell. What is the market looking for? I had a situation in Auburn when I was there, and I was working on an apartment complex development, and it was kind of weird because at that time there was not really a lot of apartment complexes going in, but I went to the city, went to the planning commission and talked to them. They said, there's just too many apartment complexes in town. Well, not really. There wasn't. It's just a feeling, it's a feeling you have because they'd seen maybe 2. An apartment complex is kind of a bigger development. I mean, the one I was working on had, 15 buildings maybe, and it was 900 bedrooms. So that's pretty good size. It's pretty dense. But at the same time, out a little ways from town, there was 100-acre mobile home parks. And, mobile home parks was 60 to 200 mobile homes. But people that were living in mobile homes, maybe they wanted to live closer into town and live in an apartment instead of a mobile home. There's lots of difference there. Nowadays, compared to when I was in college, mobile home was what I lived in, and it was fine. I enjoyed it. But nowadays, kids want to live in a little fancier places. They want to live a little closer to town where they can walk to a restaurant or whatever. So now, if you go back to Auburn now, you just would not believe how many apartment buildings there are. I mean, downtown Auburn is one of it's got 5-story buildings that are huge apartment complexes, just right there in town. And, everybody that sees that or sees new ones coming, it's like they're panicked, and I understand that change is difficult to people who are there right next to the thing, so having a plan and knowing what you need to sell, what will sell, then having a plan to get it to that point. Do we have to rezone? If not, great. Okay. Do we want to do something a little bit different than what's in the neighborhood? Because there's different uses, I mean, everybody doesn't need a 2,000 square foot 3-bedroom house. That's not the standard, or that's not what everybody in the neighborhood needs. Now, there's a lot of people that's what they want: 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That's probably a standard thing that a lot of investors invest in, and Warren Buffett's got thousands of them. Yeah, but there's also a lot of a call for tiny homes, a lot of call for 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, whatever. There's calls for those. Then there's calls for apartment complexes. So it just depends on what level, what stage of life those people are in, and what the market is asking for, and then what you want to build. But you might not necessarily have to build it if you have a piece of land and you want to get some, let's say, a feasibility study for some type of a development. what was the highest and best use of the land. You get somebody like Jeremy or to go through and give you a feasibility study and see what the land could be and what it would make most sense to be. There may be somebody then that wants to buy that off of you with those entitlements already in place. And having the entitlements in place is a lot better than not having anything, just having a piece of land, raw land, and no plan. So,
no, that's and can you touch on that too? Because a lot of people, I know that I always talk about the 4 exit ramps. Like I always have, like the little buzzword. But the 4 different exit ramps, in a development, it's a little like little buzzword or whatever. But like how with appraisals, you buy it, you get it appraised. I mean, there's ways to if you buy it or undervalued, then you have that. But then with the entitlements and the shovel ready and the full construction.
So you got to build to rent, build to sell. Are these the 4 you're talking about, or am I starting?
Oh yeah, no. So you know how like people can build and appraise it, buy it and get it appraised, then get it entitled and shovel ready, like with pad ready, and then get it build to sell or build to rent. And so as far as like a lot of like from what you've seen, I mean, there's a lot of challenges to each one of those, and everyone.
Yeah, I said something about that earlier when I said talking about if you have a piece of land and you get it to a point to where, hey, here's a feasibility study that'll work. This is the highest and best use of the land, and you get it to that point where there's a report that says, look, this makes sense. Then you're selling a project that is kind of ready to go to engineering next, or go to development. So, but yes, the exit strategy, there's a lot more to this than we can handle in 30 minutes, but knowing how you're going to exit and get out of something is just a good idea or a good thing to know. How do I want to exit? Now, you might have 3 or 4 ideas, and sometimes one of them won't work even after you get started. But maybe so you have some options. Maybe your option might be, well, I'll just sell this project to somebody and let them build it. Let them go get all the money borrowed and work it out. So Jeremy's showing a picture on screen now of a little development. Look, I like those little. I
don't know if you're gonna be able to keep a straight face. I didn't mean to throw you off.
Yeah, that's all right. I like it. There's a little area. Well, you can't see my cursor, can you?
Right. No. So like, we don't have the presentation out here just yet.
I'll put it in words, but so you got these little 2-story buildings here. Looks like multifamily, and you got a parking lot for them. And I know this is a project we're looking to do.
Yeah. Right? Oh no, we can talk about it. So this is with Eris Invest over in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Everybody.
Yeah.
To fill you guys in who are watching the replay as well. This is based in Fayetteville, North Carolina, about 5 minutes from the base. But Nathan Eccles with Eris Invest is who this client is. Yep. And man, I'm telling you, he's already got competing offers, Keith. Like he's got competing offers for all the duplexes and the quads.
Yeah, something like this really looks. It really makes it. When you can see a picture, especially like a 3-dimensional picture, you can see what this is going to look like from the street or whatever, and see what here's the duplex units right here, another duplex unit. Then you got multifamily in this little strip of land, and 2 more duplexes there. So,
hey, y'all, this plan is literally shaped like an upside down T, y'all. So we
yep, it is.
We went through so many variations. It was crazy.
Yeah. So we did a little land plan on this, and we started out with one that somebody else had come up with, and we tried to make it a little bit better and make it work well with the neighborhood and with the land we had. This is a cool little thing here that I think these are 12 units on these.
Yeah. Yep. So
each building. Yeah. So wow, that's it looks small to get 12 units out of it. But anyway, that looks really. I mean, that looks really good. That looks better on the picture there than it does in my mind. What I imagine it looking like.
Well, you know what's crazy is that remember when we were going through how many acres this was, I was like, yeah, it's like 3 acres. But when we found, I'm like, oh, it's a duh, it's 1.6. Like
1.6, yeah, this is very small. But we're getting, how many you got there? 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20 units?
20 units on less than 2 acres. Like
less than 2 acres. That's pretty good density there. But these will probably sell very, very well.
yeah, and the thing is, the city was totally open too. Like they weren't they weren't unreasonable on anything. They were just very very straight to the point. This is how we can make it work.
Yep.
Instead of saying being super pessimistic, and that's one thing I love about North Carolina and just the eastern side of the Sun Belt. And so that's where you look at the possibilities of these different types of projects. And there's so many things that people we start out with as far as ideas, right? And when we get into it, that's when we really unpack these things. I mean, there's no tell. I mean, even your best engineer, by his best instinct and eyeball, he's never correct 100% out of the gate.
Yeah,
ever. And because I mean, dirt's dirt. You never know what you're gonna come across until you dig into it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, this one was really cool because I mean, this is going to be really neat for the military housing that's over there, for those who are veterans that either veterans or veteran investors, to be able to purchase these. And I mean, what's crazy is that the VA loan, you can purchase a quadplex and they'll help cover the land purchase too. Full construction.